Hello and welcome everyone to my very first Blender tutorial. I'll be showing you the steps to how I made this cool looking watch render, which includes many of beginner to intermediate techniques such as using modifiers, lighting setups, compositing, and more. This video is aimed at people who already have a foundational understanding of Blender, knowing how to navigate throughout the software and know most of the basic hotkeys. I have tried my best to make it as clear as possible, but feel free to pause and slow down the video whenever needed. If you have any questions, you can put it in the comment section, or you can message me on Instagram at oluwa.tami, which will be in the description below and on screen now. With all that out of the way, we can finally get started with the video. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with deleting everything in the scene. Pressing A, X, and delete. Let me just put on my screencast key so you can see what I'm doing. So hopefully you guys know the basics to Blender, and I won't have to be repeating everything I say. So right now I've just added in a cylinder, changing the vertices to 60, and then tabbing into edit mode to do some scaling to make it flat and to get the basic watch shape already. Okay. Well. Alright, so I'm going to go into face select by pressing 3, extruding upwards and scaling in. Then insetting slightly by pressing I, maybe scaling that a little bit more. And extruding downwards. Alright, doesn't need to be this fat. Okay, cool. Whoops. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the, front view and make the kind of watch handles that keep the strap onto the watch. So what I'm gonna do is count 4 faces from the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to select the 4 faces out here. So 4. And I'll do that for the same side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll do the same. Whoopsies! I'll do the same for the back view. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then select these 4. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go into top view. You can do that by pressing 8 on the numpad, and I'm gonna press E, and then right click, and then S, Y. So that'll scale out on the Y-axis, and then we've got this part. So, to just add a little bit more detail, I'm just gonna select all of these edges at the top by, going into edge select, and then, hold on. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna press G and Z and bring down on the Z axis. So, this is what we got so far. Not too bad. So now I'm going to make part of the watch strap. So by doing this, I'm going to press Shift A in object mode, add in a cube. I'm going to bring that to the front, and I'm going to scale it down. So you've probably seen the finished product already, and you probably know how it will turn out. So hopefully you'll get a sense of what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to add a modifier, and it's going to be a mirror modifier, and set the mirror object to the main body of the watch. So then when I pull it to the side, along the x-axis, then I'll have the mirrored object. So right now I'm just doing part of the watch handle, you'll see. So just blocking out the main shape that I want, bring it out on different axes. Okay, like so. So this is kind of the shape I'm going for. I'm just gonna make a few more adjustments. Might speed this up, might not. We'll see. It won't take too long. Okay. I'm just checking all my views because it's always important to see how it looks from all different angles. So I'm gonna make sure that these parts line up. Okay. Okay, yeah, that looks all right. Okay, yeah, there we go. And now I'm gonna add in another piece to the watch. It's just gonna be a simple, like, flat cuboid shape. So I'm gonna bring that on the Y-axis, tab into edit mode, scale it downwards. It's gonna be more flat, and it's gonna be long. So, tabbing into edit mode, SY, SX, and then, okay, yeah, a bit too high. So let me just keep making some adjustments. Still a bit big. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks alright. So what I'm going to do to add a bit detail, it's quite early, but I still like doing this. I'm going to press Control B to add in a bevel to it and scroll up on the mouse wheel. I'll say, yeah, that looks good. So I'm just going to press spacebar. It might be like F2 for some people because I've changed my settings. And I'm going to type in shade smooth. I think you can also do that by pressing W and then shade smooth. I think that's quicker. So now we just need a few more pieces before we add in the array modifier, which will help us complete the watch. So I think I'm gonna bevel this part now as well, just because I like using the bevel modifier, or not modifier, but just the bevel feature. So shade smooth, and there we go. So for the watch handles, they're kind of a rounded shape, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So I'm gonna add in another cube, scale it down, bring on the y-axis, bring it on the x-axis. And I'm gonna go into right view, go into wireframe, scale that down, bring it on this the z-axis, so that it lines up with this part. I think that's more important. Yeah, okay. Go into top view, make sure that's scaled in a bit. And for the design I want to have, it's going to be kind of rounded. So I'm going to press Control R to add in edge loops. I think it's a good idea to have an odd number of edge loops. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go to the top and check proportional editing and change it to sphere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the top part of the watch, go into right view, and then G, Z, wait, let me scroll out. Okay, G, Z, and then we can just have this nice rounded effect to this part of the watch. And I want this part to be flat, so I'm going to go into face select by pressing 3, click one side, control click the other side. Make sure proportional editing is off because you don't want to have everything looking janky. And press S, Z, 0. There we go. So it's looking quite high, quite big. So I'm just going to bring that up on the Z axis. And I think that's more of what I'm going for. So I'm going to go to the top where it says Object, Set Origin, Geometry to Origin. So right view. I wish, well, let me try. Yeah, left view's what I've been wanting. So I'm going to scale it up, position it to where I think is best. Go top view. Again, always checking my different perspectives. Make sure this all looks good. I'm going to scale this part a little bit outwards, just so it doesn't look like it's floating in midair. Because realistically, there'll be like screws here, but I think it's slightly unnecessary for what we're going to do. Because, you know, no one's going to be looking too closely. Well, hopefully anyway. So I'm just going to keep scaling this and making adjustments. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter if there's a gap here because that's how they are in real life. So what I'm going to do now is add another modifier, mirror again, and I'm going to make it mirror around this object right here so that we've got it symmetrical. Oh yes, one more thing I want to do is add bevel to this. So I've just pressed the / key so that it's isolated and I can just see this part. And I'm going to select all of these edges around this part here. Oops. Alt clicking to select like a whole like row of edges, and then shift clicking to select multiple, and then press / again so I can see everything. So now I'm just going to press Control B to bevel yet again. So okay, and then let me press W, shade smooth. Yep, I like that. Yeah, it looks good. All right, perfect. Let me just scale a little bit more here. Okay, so I'm gonna make one more like cube piece similar to this. Actually, let me just steal this, Shift D, bring it on the y-axis. It's gonna be slightly smaller. So then I have this. Perfect. This is great. Okay. Again, you're going to see what I'm about to do. It's quite a cool trick, quite helpful for making the watch. I'm going to use an array modifier and a few other tricks. So what we need to do is have, well, we're first going to apply this modifier, the mirror modifier, to the side pieces. Let me just scale up on the Z axis for this. Yeah, it looks slightly better. Okay. We're going to join these pieces to this. So click on this and then shift click on the middle piece and press Ctrl J. And there we go, lovely. And now we are not going to add a mirror modifier, but we're going to add an array modifier. And then relative offset, and change the X to 0 and the Y to 1, I think. Yes, perfect. Okay. Well, not exactly perfect because we've got this massive gap. So we don't want to add exactly 1. So we can just change that slightly. So yeah, this looks quite good. Sorry, I accidentally turned off this. Okay, good. So yeah, this is what the modifier does. But we will not be using a fixed count because we're going to first add a curve modifier. This will be wait, hold on. Let me just find it. Okay. What just happened? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be extremely helpful for making the actual shape of the strap. So just stay tuned and we'll have that sorted in a minute. I'm just going to make adjustments to these parts. I kind of want these things to be kind of closer, maybe. Let me just make some slight edits. Yeah, I want everything to be kind of perfect. Okay, yeah, that's better. Tiny changes, but it makes me happy. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna press Shift S, cursor to selected, and then Shift A. Hold on, my bad. Okay, Shift A and add in a curve, and I'm thinking it's a path curve. This is always so like fiddly, and it really kind of frustrates me, but hopefully we'll get working in this first try. So I'm going to change the curve modifier to nums path, and it's already kind of looking funky. So let's see what we can do. Okay. So RZ 90. And then we're just going to move the curve. Okay, we're going to move the actual watch strap like so. Position it back to where we need it. And then we're going to click on the actual path. Well, no, we don't need the path. We're gonna go back to the watch strap modifier, change it from fixed count to fit curve, and then curve and choose the path, and make sure that I have no idea what's gone wrong. Give me a sec. Oh, okay. Yeah, just making sure relative offset is checked. So now I believe, hold on. I believe this will be working. Yes, perfect. Okay, so now we've got the watch strap bending to however we like, conforming to this curve that we've got here. This is exactly what I wanted, so good job. All right, so now that we've got this part of the watch strap, all we can do is add another mirror modifier. Set it to the watch strap, change it from X to Y, and we need to mirror these parts as well. So I think I'll just join these to this part. Whoops, need to apply the mirror modifier. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then mirror this and Y-axis. Okay, good. All right, it's taking shape. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to do at the start was no watch looks like this. It has a little bottom part, usually like very metallic, slightly different from the rest of the watch. So I'm going to tab into edit mode and make a few changes. So I'm going to extrude downwards slightly, and then extrude, scale, extrude, and then bring it down on the Z axis and then scale. So that's looking slightly better. I might just bring these pieces in. Yep. Well, that's looking a bit Let's see. I don't want it to be too exaggerated. And I feel like I'm gonna bevel this part just slightly, just one division, just like that. So, yep. For most watches, you usually have the clicky thing, but I'm feeling lazy and I really don't want to do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to steal one of these pieces, click this, press L, Shift D. Don't worry, just trust me. Just press P selection. Then we've got this, and delete all the Oh, whoops, I was a bit hasty there. Let me do that again. Shift D, P selection. Okay, cool. Just you need to tab a few times, I think, and then delete all the modifiers. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. So then I'm going to just bring this down here. Objects, set origin, set that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to flip this round. So R180, making sure I'm in an orthographic perspective. I'm going to bring this outwards. Going to add a modifier. Again, a mirror modifier. You're probably sick of hearing that, but I'm sorry. So now we've got on both sides, right view, scale it up. GSY, need to scale it a bit more. This is a big piece, and I think that is good. I'll scale it in on the x-axis slightly, but I think this does the job, and I'm just going to steal one more piece. This part, L, Shift D, P selection, delete that. Okay, lovely, lovely. And place it exactly where it needs to be. It doesn't matter because the bottom part of the strap hopefully won't be showing up in the render, depending how smart you want to be with it. And I think that is disgusting. Give me a sec. Put the origin to geometry, scale that up on the z-axis. Yeah, that looks slightly better. If you're gonna overlap faces, make sure it looks somewhat presentable. And there we go. All right, so the watch strap is complete. I'm quite happy with that. So let's get on to doing the rest of the main part of the watch. So I'm just going to press tab into edit mode. Click face select. I'm just going to scale this in again, just slightly. Apologies. I'm going to click this face. And I'm just going to add a few more details. Again, me with the details, but I think I might cut that. That was a bit weird. So I to inset. And I'm gonna insert again. Well, give me a sec. I'm just gonna look at what I did previously. Okay, so I've got this round bit. Okay. Okay. All right, so I think first I'm going to add in the numbers for our watch. So I'm going to press Shift C to bring it back to the center, Shift A, and add in a text thing. I don't know, it's just text. And I'm going to go into the font settings, change it from the alignment from left to center and from vertical to center as well, so that everything's centered. What I want to do is the character spacing has to be just a little bit smaller, just a bit. You'll see why. And I'm going to change the font. You can go to font settings, and then all of your fonts can be found in the Windows settings, this directory right here. And there was a good one that I found earlier. Give me one moment. What was it called? I think I might cut this. Is it this? I think it was this one. So this is the font that I'm using. It's Cellophane. I don't know what language that is, but it's quite a nice one for a watch. I'm going to go down to, yes, geometry settings and make sure the extrude is a little bit so it's a bit 3D and we can actually see it well. So now I'm going to go top view, make sure cursor is back to center. I'm going to extrude this part downwards, so EZ, and I think that just adds, you know, a nice touch. So going into top view now, I'm going to position this number 12 and bring it up on the y-axis, GY, and scale that inwards, or scale that down in general, making sure that it's on this part of the watch. So GY, and making sure it is snugly within the watch. Okay, I'm gonna scale that in slightly. And let me just check character spacing. I remember when I was practicing, it was like 0.85. So yes, that's good. So now I'm just gonna do the rest of them, the rest of the characters by pressing Shift D, making sure that your rotation is centered around the 3D cursor, and then R30. Why is it 30? Because there are 12 characters, 12 numbers that we need to do, and 360 divided by 12 is 30. Yes, maths. Okay. So we're gonna do 1. I might speed this up. Whoops. All right, so Shift D, R30. Okay, so I've completed all of the watch numbers, and now we just need to do the hands. So for my design, I'm just going to add in a cube, scale that on the Z-axis. We're going to make it extremely flat, bring it up so we can actually see it, scale it down. I just like scaling in edit mode because sometimes if you scale in object mode, things kind of act weird. Okay. Making that thin, scaling on that axis, wherever that axis was, and gonna bring this in by pressing G twice if you didn't know, and GY, bring that out a bit. Okay, so that's one part of the watch. I'm just gonna add a little design thing that I made. Pressing R to add in edge loops, I to inset, and then E to extrude downwards, like so. So we've got this nice little design. And we're just gonna duplicate this hand here. Do that, and then make sure that the pivot point is about the 3D cursor. And then just rotate. Well, okay, wait, let me delete that first. Sorry, that didn't look too nice. So I'm gonna scale this downwards, or scale it on the Z-axis. I think it's fine. Well, let me turn on cavity so things are easier to perceive. Okay. Okay, I'm going to bring this back on the y-axis, go into top view, Shift D, R, going to rotate that. It's going to be slightly smaller, so I'm going to scale it on the x-axis, pressing X twice to get its local axis, and then SY twice, again, so it is shorter. So this is the hour hand, and this is not nice. I don't like this type of overlapping, so I'm just gonna bring this one down. Scale on the z-axis, scale this on the z-axis, bring this up, and this as well. Whoops, this as well. Okay, for this hour hand, I think I'm just gonna pull this part up. Again, just a neat design feature. So G, Y, Y, local axis, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think we're done with this part of the watch. You could add in like another watch here, like another clock, mini clock. I don't think I'm gonna do that for this tutorial. It's not too hard. You just duplicate these parts, make a little ring here, but whatever. So the last part of this tutorial, I'm just gonna add in a subdivision surface modifier. This makes it look a bit cleaner. It doesn't look so sharp. And yeah, let's just get started with it now. So I'm gonna go into modifiers, add modifier, just for this part here. Whoops, I don't know what happened. Okay, it's fine. Add modifier, and where is it? Subdivision surface. Okay. It looks horrible. It looks horrific. Let's not lie. Let's not kid ourselves here. I'm just gonna turn it up a little bit. And so what you're going to need to do now is adding edge loops. So when you add an edge loop here by pressing Ctrl R, you can make it more sharp. I might have to keep toggling this on and off because it makes my laptop really slow, but I'm going to speed this up and show you my finished result. For the middle part, you're going to want to inset it because Blender doesn't play nice with n-gons, essentially. That's what these are called. So that makes the subdivision look better in the middle face. With all the supporting edge loops added, I think it's just time for one more little thing. It won't take too long, so I'm just going to add in my name. This can be your name or I'll know your brand name for it. So I'm just going to do Shift A, add in a text thing, text, and I'm going to edit it. Use the same font as before, and there we go. That's just a nice little detail yet again. Oh, guys, okay, so one more thing, or a few more things I forgot to add before wrapping up this tutorial. I forgot to add in the watch dial thing to change the time, to adjust the time, and the other two little buttons on the side that are for the timer if you have a watch, but this one doesn't have a timer, so they're pointless, but I still like them. So we're gonna add them. So added in a cylinder. We can change the vertices count to 30 or something. Well, actually I think I'll put it back to 60. Yeah, 60 is fine. Bring it out on the x-axis. Rotate it RY90. Scale that guy in. And bring him back into the watch. Okay, scale. And for one design thing I like to do, you know how the watch has its little ridges in? I like to alt-click the outer edge or outer faces of the cylinder, space or whatever the search button is, and type in checkered deselect. And that gives the checkered deselect. So I'm going to press E to extrude and then make sure that your thing is on medium point, and then press S to scale in. Okay, so now we've got that little effect. Well, okay, scale it and then press Shift X. And yeah, scale and Shift X. I don't want it to be too drastic though. You know, just this subtle little feature. And then I'm just gonna extrude this part in, scale it maybe. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna shade smooth and then go to this panel, normals, and then auto smooth. There we go. And for the little buttons, I'm gonna add in another cylinder. Again, RX90, don't worry guys, we're almost done. Bring it out. Go into modifiers and surprise, surprise, mirror modifier. Make it so that it's the main cylinder, so you can use the eyedropper. Press Shift C. Oh, we're gonna make it for the Y-axis as well. Set the pivot point to 3D cursor, and then rotate. So we have this nice effect on both sides. So I'm just gonna scale it in, making sure that I'm back into medium point instead of 3D cursor. Scale it in. Gonna go into edit mode, tap the face, GG, bring it in twice. I to insets, and then E to extrude outwards. And there we go. That's looking good. I think I might just rotate it inwards a little bit. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. Looks nice. Okay, so the final thing to do is to add in the glass. This is very easy, don't worry. What we're gonna want to do is click on the face. Well, alt-click this outer edge. Press Shift D, P, selection, tab out of edit mode, get rid of the subdivision surface modifier, and then tab into this ring. Press A, E, Z to bring the glass. You don't need it to be very high. And then F to fill. And there we go. We're going to be hiding it for the next part, but yeah, I think we're done. Yeah. So we've got the basic outline of the watch. Well, not basic. We've actually completed the main body of the watch. In the next part, we're going to do lighting, shading, and compositing. I'm very happy doing this tutorial. Yet again, this is my first tutorial that I've ever done, and I hope it goes well. So see you in part 2. Thank you.